Assalamu alaikum and good morning. This is Dr. Mohammad Mizan Rahman and welcome everyone to today's online discussion organized by Adar Health Bangladesh. Today we have a distinguished guest, Professor Abdul Samad Sir from India. He is going to present on novel technologies in Adar Health Management suitable for smallhold farms. Dr. Samad did his Bachelor of Veterinary Science and Master in Veterinary Science from Bombay Veterinary College and obtained PhD from Ontario Veterinary College, Canada. Dr. Samad is a dairy expert and veterinarian working in field and academia for more than 40 years. He joined as assistant professor at College of Veterinary Science, Parbhani in Maharashtra and promoted as associate professor within 3 years. Then he joined Bombay Veterinary College in 1996 as a professor and became dean of the college in 2006. He retired from the veterinary college in 2014. In 2002, Professor Samad, along with a software engineer, co-founded a company called VetWire. It now offers a mobile-based and easy-to-use app called Hardman for farmers to capture cattle data using QR codes on the front end. That data is used to produce insights about the cattle health, matching boosts to bring about genetic improvement, and even meal production forecasting. These data outputs are delivered in the local language to dairy farmers and the veterinarians looking after their herds in India. Dr. Samad sir is currently working to digitalize the military dairy farms in Bangladesh. So welcome sir and thank you very much for your generous time for Adar Health Bangladesh. And before moving further, I would like to remember acknowledge Dr. Nurul Amin sir, ex-deputy director of Department of Livestock Services Bangladesh, and he is also a consultant of Renata Animal Health, who died on recently on 10th August. He was a renowned practitioner and working closely with Adar Health Bangladesh to train dairy farmers and field veterinarians and was very popular among the dairy farmers and field veterinary community. May Allah forgive him and give him Jannah.
Amin.
Amen. So at this moment, may I request you, Dr. Shafiqur Rahman, to say something about the program, just 1 or 2 minutes.
Thank you, Dr. Mizanur Rahman, and welcome us, our honorable chief guest, Dr. Abdul Samad from India. We are really delighted with a renowned veterinarian and dairy practitioner. As a country like Bangladesh, we are not so much developed in dairy, but we are following dairy practice like India and other country who has a good reputation and standard operating system. Adar Health program is very good program. We already completed 4 5 session, maybe today 6 session. So already this program is broadcast all over Bangladesh, even in the abroad. So many farmers are acknowledge this program, especially the program for the small scale dairy. Bangladesh, we don't have a large scale dairy, but small scale dairy is very popular, and farmers are eagerly waiting to know the latest technological approach. Our ex deputy director, Dr. Nurul Amin sir, died 2 days before. We are really mourn, and throughout the country, the farmers who are closely related with the dairy practice and with the Nurul Amin sir, they express their views, ideas, and their pettiness through Facebook and other social medias. I personally very close with the Nurul Amin sir, especially in the 2012 and 13. I met with him and he advised me to work with the dairy sector, because dairy sector was the that time dairy sector was not in good position. But through Nurul Amin sir and I myself and the other health program, Dr. Mizanur Rahman and other some practice, Nurul Amin sir brought the program, brought the sector up and up. So through this program, I personally feel Nurul Amin sir, and today I would like to declare this program is for our Nurul Amin sir.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Thank you very much.
And may Allah forgive our Nurul Amin sir, and we give him to Jannah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr.
Thank you very
Shafizur
much,
Rahman.
Dr. Shafizur Rahman.
So there is
So
another
there is
colleague,
another
Dr.
colleague,
Dipendra
Dr.
বিশ্বাস.
Dipendra.
If you just say on a two line only, then we quickly move to the program.
Thank you, Dr. Mizanur Rahman, under the Other Health Management. Actually, I saw several lectures from the Dr. Abdul Samad in the last 2 weeks ago on the toxicology, toxics in bovine. So from that, I know him, and I know him very well at that time from where. So I think it is very well discussions now on the bovine mastitis. Actually, it is our main problem in dairy sectors in Bangladesh, and there are so many cattle are affected, especially in the small dairy or into the large dairy farm. But in small dairy, it is very difficult condition. So I cannot say anything more. So that I want to share, and I want to know the more information and novel technology to control these mastitis from the doctor. Professor Dr. Abdul Samad. So thank you everybody, and thank you Dr. Mizanur Rahman for giving me the. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Dipendra. Sir, so the program, the platform is yours now, so you can move now. Thank you very much, sir. You can go on.
Can you see my screen?
So not yet. Yes, sir. We can see now. It is coming.
Okay. So
So
warm
it is
welcome.
not. Sir,
Yeah.
it is not fully visible now. Yeah.
Okay. So warm welcome to everyone. I'll be discussing about some new technologies that have come that have been developed recently. I think most of you are all veterinary practitioners. So I will not go into the basic things which you already know. What I will try to do is give you some information which is out of my experience of practicing, and most of what I will describe to you today is coming out of my own practice. Uh, so you can these are all technologies and things which I have practiced and found to be very useful, because I always believe that if I have to take a technology to the farmers, I should do it first. So when I was in the university, I used to try out all those in my own farm, for at least a year. And when I'm convinced that it is working in my farm, then only I would take those technologies and try out at different farms. So that is how has been my approach. So I'll give you glimpses of what has worked up till now and what new technologies are coming up. So in this lecture, since it's related with management, okay. I'm sorry, for this technical problem. Okay, the lecture plan is, I'll give you a brief about other health management system. So in that, data becomes important. So how you can use data, that briefly I'll mention. I always found that when you're talking about udder health, housing management is important. Housing is important. So we'll briefly talk on what work we have done here in India and how it has helped in reducing the incidence of mastitis. And then I'll discuss about new technologies in which I am involved. Basically, those technologies are the one which is we call it barrier type of technologies, where we are trying to prevent the invasion of pathogen rather than treating the pathogen. So it's something new concept which is coming up, and we have been working, and there are a few patents filed, and then we also have now products that are there in the market. Now, what is udder health management? I think the veterinary practitioners should know the difference between treating a case of mastitis and udder health management. Although both are related, but when the word management comes, then you have a goal. So that's why management is coordination and administration of different tasks to achieve a goal. And as the topic as this it mentions, it's udder health. So the goal is here to keep udder healthy, so that we get a good and clean milk. So to achieve that goal, whatever we are going to do will be called management. So it's a coordination of different tasks. And then this kind of administration requires strategy. So you got to have a strategy of how you are going to achieve. And then you should know what are the available resources with you. So radically, the you have to define your own goals as to what you want to achieve, because other health would have different components of achievement. So you'll have to decide what exactly you want, and sometimes you want to achieve these goals in phases. So you'll have to decide what exactly is your goal. For example, would you like to reduce incidence of mastitis? So that should be your goal. That currently I have in the farm large number of cases of mastitis, so I want to reduce clinical cases. Or you want to reduce culling rates because you find that your high yielding cows are forced to be culled because of other health issues, because of mastitis, fibrosis. Or you want to reduce somatic cell count because the company is paying you and penalizing you if the somatic cell count is getting high, and thus you want to reduce the milk rejection. So these are some of the goals which you should decide. And then organize people, because here in case of smallhold farmers are the one who are going to implement. So you have to organize them, you have to sensitize them, you have to skill them in doing certain things. And then you have to also have a measurement of a device for measurement, because if you set up a goal, you should also set up what is going to be your measurement criteria. For example, in case of clinical mastitis, if I say that in a year currently I have 20% cases of clinical mastitis, I want to reduce it by 5%. And here the measurement criteria is cases that are coming up with clinical mastitis and getting treated. So that reduction. If you have got somatic cell count reduction as your criteria, then in that case we'll say currently I have 450,000 somatic cell count in my milk. I'll reduce it to 350,000 per ml somatic cell count in a year's time. So you should have a measurable criteria. And if you have all these very clearly set up for your farmers or for your organization, then it's easy to achieve the goals. And since all these things require data, because if I have to measure anything, if I have to set up anything, I should know what is benchmark. Then, as I have said, you got to have a criteria of measurement. And there is a good saying in management that anything that cannot be measured cannot. So unless you measure, you cannot improve, because you don't know what is the current level. You don't know how in future, whether you are having an impact on what you are doing or if you are not having an impact. So data management is important. So this is what I focus to the vets, that this is your core requirement. If you have this, then you have knowledge with you. You have information about animals, and then based on this, only you will be able to do correctly, diagnose, take decisions, identify problems correctly. Otherwise, all your decisions are going to be ad hoc. You'll go and look at the animal, you don't know anything about the animal, and then you just do something which is ad hoc. Take out some injections, give and come back. Then you don't know what has happened to that animal. So we are in this part of the world we have all these issues which are very intricate. But if you are able to have a good system of data recording and data sharing, then probably things will improve very fast. So no, these are some of the data which you require. For example, you require data of somatic cell count. You require how many cases are there, and when these cases are coming up. What is its association with days in milk? Are you getting more clinical mastitis cases immediately after parturition, or during the peak yield, or during the mid lactation, or during the dry period? Because in every case the causal problem is different. The strategy to adopt is going to be different. And mind well, we are talking about 5% clinical cases which will require treatment, and 95% where you would want to prevent it. So our focus more is on prevention. So that's why we want pre-warning system, that we should know when the problem has started. We don't want to come to a situation where there is a crisis and then you want to do crisis management. So you don't want to go in for a crisis management. Then what are the drug used, and what is its efficacy? First line drugs which are being used, how extensively it is being used, for how many days it is being used. So all these antibiotic sensitivity profiling data. Then udder health versus uterine health. Are you getting cases of mastitis and also metritis? How many cases are there which are actually metritis and coming into becoming mastitis? Because the infection is coming from uterus to udder, and in that case you'll have to focus more on the uterine health. So at the time of carving, you'll have to check that the infection which is going inside and getting getting localized in uterus is now getting extended after some time into other tissues. Then what is, are you using dry cow therapy? What is its impact? Are you using teeth dipping? Can you trace those animals which are teeth dipped, which are not teeth dipped? So what is the rate of mastitis? So I mean, you need good data available with you, and that and why I insist that you should go for data system. And we have developed a very simple system of data recording, which can be done even by farmers who are having smartphone. And we can also share information with farmers who are not having smartphone but simple phone, because in regional languages we'll be able to send them messages. This is precisely a very simple system to roll out. We have a unique kind of ear tag, which instead of a linear barcode is converted into an encrypted QR code. Now, encryption gives the privacy, so that this data is seen only by the farmer, his vet, or his dairy cooperative or the manager, and others will not be able to see. So it gives privacy of the data to the farmer. Secondly, the advantage here is you can scan it with the app that is available on the on the Google Play. So you have to just scan. After scanning, you get the animals file open. So you don't have to really type the 12-digit numbers and make errors and then download its file. And then when you download the file, you are very sure that you are seeing the lifetime record. Another advantage of this system is that in RFID, which requires a RFID reader and then very expensive RFID device to be injected or put on the ear, then you have a stick and then read. And these things don't work in small hole, because in small hole we don't have mechanization. Now RFID is known to work in mechanization, where you have a static reader and animals are passing through a gate, animals ID is detected, and then the gate management happens, like in milk parlor, etc. But otherwise RFID won't offer you any advantage, whereas our system is very cost effective and it offers you more advantages than the RFID. Because here what is happening, you are just scanning it with the camera of your smartphone, and then you get the file opened, and therefore you cannot enter the data without going near the animal. This is one of the problems we have. You have a scheme where you want to do milk recording, you have a scheme where AI workers are going to AI, but you do not know whether he has really gone, whether that record has come from animal side or somebody is cooking up data sitting at home. So here, this is a very simple traceability system. You just scan, and then only you can enter the data. Once you enter the data, it gets updated in your smartphone. Also, it gets uploaded on the cloud server, and immediately it is processed, and the information is shared with everyone. So everything happens quickly as soon as the data is updated. So this is the advantage. And then this is available even for farmer having 1 animal, 5 animal, 50 animals. All he need to do is buy this tag and then attach the tag to the ear of the animal, download the app on its on his smartphone, and start working. And then it sends you all kinds of daily action list. When he has to do what. The management, the paravet will know when he has to do AI, when he has to do PD. So all these things would be he would be able to get. This is also available in Bengali and other languages. There are a whole lot of uh, things that are available here. You can also attach it to IoTs like pedometer, temperature device. You can also attach it to your cell phone, which can be converted into micro. So there are a lot of these technologies that are coming up. And it can be used. It can also be interacted with telemetry services. So there is also a module of telemetry services, and you're sitting at your district headquarters. Animal is somewhere in a remote village, you cannot reach there. So all the paravet would like to consult with you, so he has to just do few things, and then he can send information to you, and you can send a prescription to him. So it's a very cost effective as well as very effective system that can be tried. And for any kind of management program, let it be udder health management or uterine health management or herd health management, unless you have the data with you, you won't be able to know what are the associated factors with the problems, whether your strategies are working or not working. So this is something I would request all the vets in Bangladesh to look at, and encourage your farmers to adopt data recording, and you can also then slowly start practicing what is called as evidence-based medicine. So you have data as your evidence, and then you practice it. Now, coming back to the topic of what are the elements of herd health management? What are different tasks you have to do? Number one, remember, don't try to do anything in isolation, because udder health is udder is not an independent organ. It is there on the body. It is dependent on body's health, overall animals health also. So therefore, it should be part of an overall herd health management program. Then you have to have a monitoring system, because you don't want to get to a situation where there is crisis. So you want to monitor whether udder health is normal or not. And there are certain criteria here. For example, you all know about California mastitis test. You all know about trypsin. There is also another test called trypsin inhibitor test. Then somatic cell count. So you can do any of the tests. As far as CMT is concerned, it doesn't work good in buffaloes, because in buffalo somatic cell count normally is very less compared to crossbred cows. As well as in indigenous cows, also we have seen that the somatic cell count is much lower than the crossbred. And probably what reagent we are using is calibrated for, say 250,000 or 350,000 per ml somatic cell count. So you need to adjust for different breeds, because that is the typical problem with us and not in Europe, because they have quite but Taurus as a breed has become quite uniform there. So somatic cell count is not really variable. Another thing you need to remember is you have to treat clinical cases, because those are the one which are major source of infection, spreading of infection. And those cases will occur during lactation. You would also be doing milking the farmer is going to do, and and then there are chances that the infection from these infected animals, if they are not totally cured will also be spread to others. And that's why I said, you must know, the association of your mastitis cases with days in milk. Usually, infections that is expanding from existing clinical cases which have not been cured totally to other animal typically would occur during mid lactation onward, whereas those cases which have been picked up during dry period, which we call as new pathogens, new infections, will typically happen after parturition, first 45 days to 100 days. I mean, many, first week to 100 days. That is usually the procedure of finding out where exactly the problem lies and where you need to focus. Then milking management, check whether the milking hygiene is proper or not. So those kind of factors. I'll not go into details because you are already sensitized with that. And then finally dry cow therapy, because here you want to take a decision whether you want to treat all the cows that are getting dried off with dry cow therapy, or you want to treat only selected cases which have shown high somatic cell count, or the cases which have which have suffered from clinical mastitis, and you are not sure whether you have been able to totally cure them of infection, so you want to do dry cow therapy. So these are some of the elements which you need to consider while designing your strategies. As I have said, housing is the mother of all the problems in the farm. The moment you have defective housing, you're gone. You do anything, you are not going to get results. And this is something which most of the vets and the farmers do not pay attention to. They feel that cow is such an animal which can be tied anywhere, and then the dairy farm starts under the tree, side of the road, anywhere where there is available backyard, balcony, or some kind of veranda. Even in Bangladesh, I have moved to a lot of places, and I find that the stocking density is very high. It's very unhygienic. Animals are not able to move. There is no good ventilation. So this is all you are keeping very expensive animals inside, and you don't want to maintain the minimum standard of housing. That leads to all the problems. Second, look at this. I have shown here in one of the farm. The floor is concretized. Then you have tied the animal. Then animal is now defecating and urinating on the spot. Then is forced to sit because of low leash. So his whole body is getting soiled with dung and urine. So how can you expect healthy milk or quality milk from such an animal? We are using kind of defective system which have been brought from Western countries. Those are system which works very well over there. They have concretized flooring, but they use for keeping it dry straw. They use sawdust, they use sand, they use other kind of things, whereas we don't use that. We are keeping those animals on the naked cement concrete, and there and then morning and evening we keep on washing. Then because animal is getting soiled with dung, we keep on washing the animal also. Now as far as cows are concerned, you go anywhere, you don't find people washing cows. It's only in this part of the world. It's they have got hair, it's very thick skin, they have got oil on it, but you are forced to wash because of defective housing. So this is something which you need to focus. The basic principle here is the flooring should be dry. The environment should not be humid. These are two basic things. And if you are able to keep this, and then good ventilation, for keeping your environment dry, what you need is good air flow, so good ventilation. If these two things you are able to maintain, I'm not bothered what you are using as floor and whatever. I generally don't use anything. I do not advise farmers to use anything which is non-absorbent on the floor, unless and until you are able to put things that are going to absorb urine, that are going to absorb moisture from feces and keep the environment dry. So these are some of the ideas which we have followed here in India.